Yeah, I've had a bunch of people ask me on the air what I run for my audio stuff, so I told them I'd do a video and post it up. So we'll try to go through this fairly quickly. I run a Zoom r-8. This is the box it comes in. It's for recording music, but I don't use it for that, obviously. And I'm going to go through a quick thing. We'll start with, you could either run a condenser mic, which that's about 25, 30 bucks on Amazon, or a dynamic mic. They're priced anywhere from $50 to $700, depends on how much you want to invest in it. Those are connected with an XLR cable, a 3-pin XLR cable, which is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and connect one of those. Stand by, got to set the phone down here. Okay, so that mic is connected to the XLR cable. The other end of the XLR cable, I'm going to plug into input 1 in the back of the Zoom. And then when you come out, well, we'll go into that in a minute. There's a few knobs on the back here. This one is for your output. It says output. That needs to be all the way to the right. You don't want to have that turned down. It's going to cut back on your processing. So the way I get audio now, now I'm set from the mic to the Zoom. Now we need to go from the Zoom into the radio. So I bought this cable from a company called onairdesigns.us. They can make this cable for you, or you can make your own. I'll show you the one I made myself after I got this one. Theirs comes with a 4-pin jack for your radio, 1/4-inch jack that plugs into the Zoom, and then they have a push button on theirs to key up with. I took it off and put a 1/4-inch receiver so I can plug my foot pedal into it, and I reused their push button on the cable that I made as a second cable, which is this one here. 4-pin for the radio, 1/4-inch jack for the Zoom, and the push button to key up. I kind of made that one as to have a spare cable. Okay, so this 1/4-inch jack is going to plug into the left side on the output of the Zoom. Okay, and then obviously your 4-pin connects to your radio. And if you're going to a radio like an ICOM or something that's 8-pin or 6-pin or 5-pin, you can use any kind of adapter made to do that, to adapt to a 4-pin Cobra setup. The on-off switch is on the back. This plugs into the wall, but it will also run on 4 AA batteries. Before you start doing anything, if you get a new one, it does take there's a little door here. It does take a memory card. You need that memory card in there. It don't have to be a big one if you're not going to record music and stuff. It can be just a 2 gig or whichever. The standard size memory card goes in there. Okay, we're on the main screen now. This is set at like 9 o'clock on this output 1. That's if I'm going to run a dynamic mic. That's about where I run mine. This number 2 is set up for the condenser mic, which is more like a power mic, so I can move this cable over to here. Or I could run a separate cable and I could switch between the two. You don't ever want to try run both of them, because it will work, but what it does is one mic is processed audio and one is not. It will work with 2, but for processed audio, you don't want to do that. I did that before. I'm kind of learning from my own mistakes. Okay, to set this up, this is just a baseline setup now, because you're going to have to fine tune it for your radios, your mics, and such. You're going to go to the effect button. Brings you to this first screen, insert effect. Make sure that this says insert. It will say insert. Okay, it's on. I could turn this turn knob here and turn it off, but we want that on. Okay, this next setting, algorithm, is set to mic. this keypad will move you down. See, I went down and it highlighted that one. I can change that to different things. You want to go to mic, then go down again to patch. There's 29 preset patches in here. I didn't like any of them, so I went to number 30 and it said empty. See how those all have a name and then it'll start scrolling across? I went to number 30 and it said empty, but I wanted to name it for my ICOM, so I put ICOM, and to rename it you would go down to rename, go in there and you can change and name it. You don't have to do that. You can just leave it empty if you want. Just know you're using number 30. Okay, we're on input 1, which is over here. All right, trying to get some glare from the lights. Then you're going to go to edit. Takes you to the next screen, which is comp limiter. You have the option, heck, glare, of turning it off. We want that on. And it has different settings to go to. I keep it on limiter. Threshold, I set at 50. Ratio at 10. Release at 1. And level is 80. Again, this is just a starting point. You can change all these at any time. This is just how I run mine. Keypad to the right. EFX, I keep that off. You can turn it on and mess around with it, but I found it best to leave it off. Mic pre, again, you can turn it on or off right here. I chose to keep it off. Your 3-band EQ. I run my bass at 12, my mid at -6. It goes from -12 to +12, which is just 12. So I run the bass at 12, mid at -6, treble at 12, level at 80. I believe there's more stuff down here. No, there's not on that one. Okay, next screen, to the right again. Mod delay. It's got the type highlighted as exciter. There's a bunch of different ones on here. You can mess around with them. I run mine on exciter. Frequency at 3. Depth at 30. Low boost at 10. That's where I run my settings. Going to the right again. The patch level and the ZNR. I do know if you turn this patch level down to 1, it's like throwing a massive noise gate in there and it cuts your audio way back. So I leave it where it's at 25, and then the ZNR at 30. And if I need to get background noise out or something, I'm going to do that with this master lever here, which 0 is 100%, and then you would go plus above that. I stay usually down right about around 7 for me to get my background noise out, with these knobs set where they're at. Okay, so we're going to continue on. I think it's going to take us back to the first screen. It did. So now to get out of this, we're going to go to exit. Takes us back there. We want to go down to save. Hit save. Save to number 30. And then execute. It says complete. And then we're going to hit exit again and get out of that screen altogether. Now, what you have is processed audio with no reverb. So now we're going to add in reverb. So you notice how track 1 and 2 are both lit up red. Usually I keep the one I run all the time. Sorry, I'm trying to get these set right. I keep the rest of them green, which means they're off basically. And I keep 1 and 2 red. So I'm using track 1 and 2. So track 1, somehow this got pushed down when it got put back in the box. This is my extra one. I run that up at the fat line, which is the 100% level. Track 2 is how you're going to control your reverb. Now we're going to set this up real quick. You go to pan EQ. It says track 1. You have another equalizer. You can either zero that out. I find mine sounds the best when I kind of set up some numbers in there. So I went the highs 12, mids 4, lows -10. reverb send is off. Now if I go down to that, in order to turn it off, you have to go back up here. It's not with the twist knob down here, it's up here. The reason that's off, because we're going to use our track 2 for reverb only. Okay, track 2, I got reverb send at 100%. And the reason that's 100%, if I push this lever up to that fat line, I'm going to be at 100% reverb. You won't understand anything I'm saying. So I run it down to where it sounds good, to where I want it to sound. But I had to match up the EQ part of it has to match track 1. 12.4 minus 10. Track 1 is 12.4 minus 10. Reverb's off. Track 2, same equalizer. Reverb is at 100%. Now this is, again, a starting point for guys that, if you get one of these and you want to set them up, I'm more than happy to answer questions or try to help you out with it, because it is difficult at first. To get out of this screen, exit. Now, I'm not hooked to a radio, but if I talk in this, stand by, one thing I didn't mention, when you first turn it on, the red lights, track 1 and 2, and all those green lights on the other tracks will come on. But until you push this button here, you're not getting any audio. Now see, I'm going to get audio here. Well, maybe not. Stand by. Audio, hell. Why am I not getting audio? Oh, one thing I didn't do. If you're running a condenser mic, which is what I hooked up to this cable, you have to have the phantom power turned on. If you're running a dynamic, you don't have to have it. But let's say like I'm on my other one, I'm running both. One or the other. I leave the phantom turned on all the time. So we're going to turn that on. So now you can see I'm getting audio on track 1 and 2, or on track 1, because track 2 ain't really doing much, because I got it turned way down because it's only controlling reverb. So then when I stop talking, it's picking up background noise because I'm hooked to the first one, which is for the other mic, not for this one. But for video purposes, I just wanted to show how I run all this stuff. The Zoom R-8 you can pick up either at Amazon or reverb.com. And then that cable, On Air Designs. The cable's around $100. So if you have these connectors or something you want to make your own, that's fine. You don't have to use a push button. All you're doing when you push this button is shorten 2 wires together to key the radio. So you could use anything. A foot pedal, an old microphone. Don't wire up the audio side of it, just the key down part of it. And you can make your own cable. But their cable is really built nice, so I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, I'll post this up. Any questions, can comment on it, and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Thank you very much.